Thank you, Rebecca, for having me. And it's really wonderful to be here with you all today. Before we get into some words about this week's Parsha, I'd like to invite us into our bodies with a little bit of mindful movement, some gentle stretching. And so you can please feel free to follow along with me or modify however you see fit, whatever stretches or movements your body needs. So if you want to just take a moment and arrive in your seat, you can close your eyes for a moment and invite some nourishing breaths in and out. Letting your arms stretch up towards the sky, just as high as they want to go. And reaching up, feeling the length of your spine, the length of your arms. And then reaching up a little higher with one arm, stretching that side. Reaching up a little higher with the other arm. Alternating one side and then the other as if you were picking grapes from a tree branch. And then you can let your arms gently float back down to your lap, letting them come to rest gently in your lap. Picking up one foot from the floor and gently circling your foot at the ankle and going in the other direction. Placing that foot back on the floor, picking up your other foot, gentle circles at the ankle. And then in the other direction, placing that foot back on the floor. Bringing your fingertips to your shoulders and making circles in the air with your elbows in one direction and the other direction. Coming back to stillness. And taking a moment for any other stretch or movement that would feel nourishing and loving to your body right now. You could give it a stretch or a massage or a gentle touch somewhere. When you feel your movements complete, you can come back to stillness. Taking a moment to notice what your body feels like after these gentle stretches. And now, as I speak for a few minutes and give this short teaching, I invite you to stay connected to your body and see if you can notice what arises in your body, heart, and mind. And you're even welcome as I speak to have your eyes closed if you would like. So this week's Parsha is Dvarim, the first Parsha of the book of Dvarim. And it begins with the words, Elah HaDvarim. These are the Dvarim. These are the words that Moses addressed to all Israel on the other side of the Jordan. The basic root of this word, Dvarim, Dalet Bet Resh, Davar, means a word or a thing. And it's sort of a neutral term on its own. A thing really has no positive or negative tone to it. It's fairly neutral. But if we change the vowels slightly of this root, it changes the meaning. So one variation of this root, davar, is the word dover, which means a pasture. And I think about how when we are mindful in our listening and in our speech, our words can create the spaciousness and nourishment of a pasture. Our words can make space for ourselves and others to be who we are and to flourish. We also know that when we are not mindful, our words can sometimes cause suffering. Another slight variation of the same root, davar, is dever, a plague, a pestilence. And we can clearly see in our world today how words spoken unmindfully can cause harm that can have long-term effects. Another slight variation, midbar, which is related to the book of the Torah that we've just left, Bamidbar, means wilderness. I think about the way that when we speak, even when we are mindful and have the best intentions, what we speak out into is like an unknown wilderness. We don't know how our words will be received or heard, and we cannot control how they are received or heard. And so it can sometimes be scary to use our words and speak them out into the unknown wilderness of what comes next. Will our words lead us to a plague or to a pasture? Sometimes we do not speak at all, which can also lead us to a plague or a pasture. Or will our words bring us into the devir, another variation of this root davar? The devir is the innermost chamber of the temple, the Holy of Holies. Our words can be containers of holiness. And perhaps we might set an intention to enter into our relationship with words and speech with as much care and precision as the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, enters the Holy of Holies, knowing how dangerous and powerful it is to be in relationship with words. As our practice of mindfulness brings us into a state of presence, we know that we can use this practice of mindfulness to help us come from a place from which our words, the words that we speak to others, the words that we speak to ourselves, can more compassionately and wisely flow. So while we cannot ultimately control how these things, these words are received, and knowing that as human beings, we will make mistakes, we can do our best to enter into our relationship with Devarim, with words, speech, with compassion, presence, and holiness. So let's practice so we can do just that. I want to invite you to come into a comfortable seat. Or if your body needs to lie down, you're welcome to lie down. Letting your eyes close or softening your gaze. Finding a stable place for your feet on the earth. Letting your arms rest, letting your hands rest. Taking some nourishing breaths at your own pace. letting go of any unnecessary tension or effort from your body, and allowing your breath to flow freely and fully in and out. Inviting your attention to gently dwell with the presence of your body, resting here and breathing. And whenever you notice your attention has wandered, gotten caught up in thoughts, planning, stories, the to-do list, see if you can gently and kindly guide your attention back to this moment of gentle, wakeful presence and breath. If in these moments of forgetting, of getting distracted, you notice there are harsh words, unhelpful words arising, see if you can shift those words to gentle, compassionate, helpful words. It's okay. Welcome home. I'm here with you. Let's begin again. So let's continue to practice silently, resting gently with the body, with the breath for a little while. Noticing where your attention is, and if you've gotten lost, caught up in thought, planning, worrying, the to-do list, see if you can gently notice whatever is arising, if it's familiar, unfamiliar, if you can hold whatever is arising with gentleness. Inviting your attention to dwell with the body resting here and breathing. Perhaps welcoming yourself with some kind words. Welcome home. Hello, darling. I'm here with you. Let's begin again. We'll continue silently for a little while longer. Wherever your attention is right now, gently inviting your attention back to this breath coming in and going out. To the feeling of your feet making contact with the ground. The touch of your hands. The touch of fabric on your skin. The feeling of the air on your skin. Sounds entering your ears. All of these sensations calling you home to the present. As we bring this guided practice to a close, I'd like to offer a poem, Small Kindnesses by Danusha Lamaris. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers still say, "Bless you," when someone sneezes. A leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them, and for them to smile back. For the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy? These fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat." Taking a moment to offer yourself gratitude for taking this time today to practice cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and presence that we can bring into our speech, our interactions, our daily life. If your eyes have been closed, as you're ready, you can let them gently open, raising your gaze. Feel free to stretch or move if you need to. And I will hand it over to Rebecca. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Emily, for that beautiful, beautiful practice. We will seal this practice with an opportunity to recite the Mourner's Kaddish for anyone who is in a time of mourning or observing a yahrzeit. You're welcome to unmute yourself as we rise in body or spirit to recite these words together. And if you are honoring the memory of a loved one, you can please put their name in the chat box as well. Yitkadal,
Yitkadal, Yitkadal, Shmei Rabba. great name of God in the world, the divider, His glory is above all the praises and songs of adoration which human beings could utter. Amen.
Livracha, may all of these loved ones' memories be a blessing. Thank you so much again to everyone for joining us today, and to Emily again, thank you for that beautiful teaching and practice. For anyone who is leaving now, we wish you shalom and hope to see you again tomorrow at the same time. And anyone who would like to is welcome to stay on now to ask Emily any questions or just share any reflections on today's meditation experience. So if you have a reflection to share or a question, you can do so in the chat box. And if you do have a question for Emily, please just preempt your question with the word question in all caps so that we can make sure to see it. And Emily, I'll go ahead and just get the conversation started here. So I just, again, thank you so much for your teaching today. I know it spoke to me very deeply. I found myself actually before our set today kind of in a rabbit hole on social media, as I imagine many of us experience in these times, with just so much going on in the world, so much going on that is truly so difficult, and such an information overload. And your sit really helped me to notice the scatteredness and the intensity and the emotionality that I was experiencing in my own consciousness just after intaking so many different kinds of words. And so this teaching feels like such a lifeline in these times, where words are just it just feels like strewn around, right? Like sometimes
Absolutely.
so recklessly. And I'm curious if you could speak more to how you are really practicing mindfulness, both of your own speech and also intaking words from others, especially in these times when it's just a wilderness out there.
Yeah, it really is a scary wilderness out there, both in the words we put out and the words that we take in. How am I navigating that? I mean, I think they say you give the teaching that you most need. So I think I gave the teaching today that I most need, because it is so, so hard. I notice just how much I take in, social media, news consumption, and then the immediate effects on my mind, my body, and it's so easy to get sucked in. Um, Setting limits on those kinds of things, and trying to find a balance between not just completely disconnecting, but not being just swallowed by it, by the avalanche of everything. Um, Setting, specific times to consume news or to be on social media, and saying, okay, sometimes I literally set a timer for myself, because if I'm left to my own devices, it's really hard to stay present.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this practice of, noticing the signals our body gives us is so important. And um, to really try to stay in touch with, as we're consuming media, as we're consuming news, notice what my heart is doing, notice what my shoulders are doing, and try to tend to that. Um, on a more personal level, it's just something with my 3-year-old. I have a 3-year-old that I am constantly these days trying to notice the effect of my words and the way that I talk to him. It's sometimes very immediate. If I respond to him with any kind of sharpness or frustration or shortness, it usually makes him feel worse in the moment. It's really very immediate. And it's been a really good teacher because I think for a lot of us as adults, when we receive something harsh or, um, impatient or frustrated, we've conditioned ourselves not to have an immediate, meltdown about it, but our hearts really can feel it. Our hearts really can feel it. So the immediacy and the honesty of my 3-year-old son who gives me that feedback um, has been really important and helpful for me lately in trying to notice how I am with others too, and especially how I am with him as he learns how to navigate his own emotional regulation. Um, so those are some different thoughts on the personal and the global, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Emily. Yeah, it sounds like could just be so enlightening to have such a profound little teacher around.
Oh
And
yeah.
we all have that inner child inside. So it's a beautiful reminder to really pay attention to the emotional impact because it definitely ripples out. We have a question here from Linda who's just asking if you could repeat those beautiful different translations that you offered for Devarim.
Yes. So let me pull my teaching back up. So they are variations of the word davar, which is the root of the word dvarim. So one variation of the root davar, which means word or thing, is dover, which means pasture, dever, which means a plague,
Mm-hmm.
right? Midbar means wilderness, and devere means the holy of holies, the innermost chamber of the temple. So these are all slight variations of the root word davar. These are biblical Hebrew variations of that root word. And I was so fascinated by how this neutral word or davar, just with a slight variation, first of all, could mean so many different things, but also could have so many different tones of positive, of unpleasant, of wonder, of fear. And isn't that true of words? Isn't that so true of words and communication? How just the slightest tone shift or something even in our body for how we communicate something. Um, I think this can be very true over, you know, email, texting, reading things on social media that, we interpret the tone often by what we think is intended, which may not always be what was intended. And that can make things so much harder as well. So anyway, so that those were the four Dover, pasture, Dever, plague, Midbar, wilderness, and Devere, holy of holies.
Thanks,
Um,
Emily.
I
Yeah,
don't have a source sheet for this, but I should make one.
although I'm absolutely certain that if anyone was to go like online to Safaria and just to search teachings on the power of speech, on Lashon Hara, right? Evil speech, or to be a Shomer Lashon, Shomrim, Shomeret Lashon, a guardian of speech. There's so much in our tradition that speaks to the power of words, the power of speech that is both can be profoundly destructive and sometimes in a very serious way, even compared to murder, and also profoundly creative and powerful and healing. And so yeah, there's so much there in our tradition, and it's so empowering also to remember, that we do have agency. Maybe it's one of the most powerful capabilities that we have as human beings to speak. And I know for myself, mindfulness and just that practice of pausing and finding the words that come from a deeper place, from a place that feels like it's coming from the body, not just the mind, right? From the heart, is one of the ways that really, really can make that shift for me. So
Definitely.
we have a question here from Lori, who's asking if, Emily, if you have any guidance as to how to use this practice as we try to calm ourselves the day before or moments before after undergoing scary surgery. And we can maybe even expand this, just in general in these moments of kind of acute fear. Any suggestions practice can support in that time?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Lori. Yeah, and I don't know if there is a surgery that you are facing or someone that you care about that is facing, and if so, I just wish you as much ease as possible, or wish them as much ease as possible. Um, I think I think that, different kinds of meditations depend like it really depends on us and what we need in a given moment. So, something like the practice we did today could absolutely be helpful for bringing some ease and grounding before a difficult, scary procedure. Taking some time in the evening or in the morning um, to just focus on your breath, to send kind words to yourself, and at the same time, not to um, beat yourself up if you feel scared. Um, it's okay to feel scared. And I think, sometimes we can get into a relationship with meditation where we're trying to uh, bypass these very real and uh, understandable human emotions like fear, and then cause ourselves to suffer more. So I would approach whatever meditation that you're doing um, with as much openness and kindness towards the fear that one is experiencing, rather than saying, I have to get rid of this fear. This fear isn't allowed. It's not okay. Um, but really just to try to soothe yourself the way you would soothe, a child who was afraid. It's, I'm here. I love you. I'm here with you. This is a hard feeling. Um, so I would potentially focus more on the compassion phrases, kindness phrases, um, than any sort of trying to um, make the fear go away, and just trying to give yourself lots of spaciousness and kindness around the fear, um, and lots of deep breathing to help your body and your nervous system as well. And yeah, and I think having community is important and helpful when going through procedures and surgeries. To know that we're in other people's thoughts can also be a helpful practice.
Thank you, Emily. As you're speaking, something that came to mind for me that I know works for me and moments is really helpful for me in moments of acute fear that feels related to today's contemplation on the power of words is also just to have like a simple mantra. It could be one word or a phrase of chesed, loving kindness, or metta, just may I know that I'm held. May I know that I'm safe. May I be well. May I heal. Refuah shlema. Sometimes the words themselves just really carry that energy of whatever might feel healing and antidotal to the fear. And just to keep anchoring in that can also be really helpful and simple. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this sounds like a beautiful place to pause for now, for today. And yeah, just so grateful for this space for us to come together and to drop into contemplation and wisdom. Um, Again, I know for me personally, today's teaching and practice felt like exactly exactly the thing, exactly the medicine for this moment. So just really wanting to bless all of us as we leave our meditation and go back into our days with just that remembering of the power of words and that possibility of speaking words in ways that can help us to feel the spaciousness of that pasture or the holiness of that inner sanctum, and that we also have agency as to how we take in words as well. And we can do so in ways that are generative and possible for us to integrate without being so overwhelmed. So blessing us with all of that as we go back into the word wilderness. And thank you so much again, Emily, for being with us. Before we leave, Emily, do you want to say anything about your offerings or how people can get in touch with you or your teachings if they're interested? I know that you run this community in New York and some folks might be interested.
I don't run it.
Okay.
So I'm the student rabbi. Our founder is Rabbi Rachel Goldenberg, who's also an IJS alum, and I think sometimes occasionally teaches for IJS as well. We are in Queens, New York. Some of our services are also live streamed, but if you're local to the New York metro area, you're welcome to join us. We are based in Jackson Heights and Long Island City, Queens. And we will have services coming up for High Holy Days, for Shabbat, and we offer mindfulness retreats as well during the year linked to the Jewish calendar year.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you again to everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow at the same time. Many blessings.
Thank you.